Welcome to our first episodes of the Tea Club. The previous videos was the fundamentals to teach all of us how to brew tea and what other ways of brewing tea. But this videos we're going to introduce our first tea to the Tea Club. This is an Anxi TiKwanYin, which is the light versions. I encountered this tea in 2001. And by 2003, I found a master to learn from this. Master Huang is my TiKwanYin tea master from Fujian, Anxi. She is the only woman that became a national judge. And I asked her, when I visited her, that I want to learn about the hardest tea to learn about. And she of course said, TiKwanYin, Iron Goddess of Mercy. So 2003 and 4 starting the journey to now is 21 years. And great that I'm still learning about it. So I could call myself a bad student, or I could call myself a very aggressive student to pick the hardest tea in the world to learn. So why is TiKwanYin so hard to learn? It's because first it's an oolong in the category, and second of all is about the harmony. And when we drink tea, we are actually usually drinking the harmony of the tea. Because what that means? The harmony of the tea consists of the aromatic, the body, and the spirit. It's not something woo-woo to say it's the spirit, because when you drink an alcohol, you're drinking a spirit too. So how can it be a good TiKwanYin tea? Is the balance that the aromatic and the body have to be equal in parts. Have you ever tried to smell a tea that smells really nice and it promises you every flowers in the world, but when you taste it, you can't taste the flowers? And that's harmony. It's very hard to make a tea that smells like how it tastes like, and also give you the aftertaste that we call the spirit, that have the same equal elements of all the previous two. So this Oolong TiKwanYin is harvested this spring in Anxi, Fujian. The village is Xiping, and that's where the mother tree still lies. This is 800 meters. The mother tree is around 900 meters, so we're only 100 meters away from the mother trees. 60 to 80 years old trees. And it was processed to the lightest versions, which oolong is always a little bit of fermentations to it, but this is only around 5 to 8% fermented. And it maintains the floralness and the taste of how the floralness is. If people need to go technicals about this oolong tea, of what the characteristics of TiKwanYin is the lilac flowers. The lilac flowers grows around the border of this plantations per se. We call plantations even though it's been growing for over 200 years. There is a certain kind of lilac in there. Because of that lilac, there's certain kind of vanilla taste to it and the smell of it. A little bit of roses, and also if you roast this tea, it will taste like French baguette, what just came out from the oven, and also raisins in it. So those are the special characteristics of the TiKwanYin. All right, so how do we brew this tea? When you go into the farm and you want to inspect the tea leaf, you want to pick up the tea leaf and feel the weight of it. TiKwanYin translate to Iron Goddess of Mercy. So the little palette of it actually have a little weight. And you have a lot of pallets in your hand. It's almost like there's little iron pallets. And that's why they call it Iron Goddess of Mercy. So how do you brew this? You use 7 grams. Each person's have a package of 25 grams, so you have more than enough for a cup of 3 brews of this tea. So what you want to do is you can wait or kind of like just kind of eye it into this much amount. You put it in 150 milliliter of vessels, and that should cover maybe 1/3 of your cups, just like so, right? Of course, before you brew your tea, you should heat up all the vessels. This is all preheated already. And then what you want to do is your rinse. Your first rinse, you discard. And we're gonna use, from our first video, we're gonna use our second, which is a medium strength, to the third, which is a high strength, pouring into it. So we want to hit it with one spot. We hold that spot, it will create a swell, just like this. Okay? So the swelling you can see very clearly in here. What you want to do is then use the lid of the gaiwan just to clear it out. You might see a little bubbles. People always ask, why is that bubble in it? Because tea is alkaline, and alkaline create bubbles, just like soap. And what that is it kind of like bring out the dust of the tea. Even though this is organically practiced, there's still some organic matters on top of the tea leaf, right? No matter how clean it is, there's still something. So this is your first rinse, and this you can use to rinse your cup. Traditional Chinese brewing tea, you always want to make sure that people drinking a cup that is warm enough and hot enough, same as the tea. It's also a respect that you're showing people that you clean the cups, and the vessel they are touching is clean also. So you can see now the tea is already start to unfurl a little bit, and Boy can smell it a little bit too. Okay, thank you, Boy. He approved it. Now we're gonna go for our first brew. Whoops. Okay. So the first brew of tea, since we already hit the tea leaf with hot water, is already self-brewing at this point, even though you can't see any water in it. There's a lot of hot water soaked into the tea leaf. What you want to do, you can play with the 3 brewing method: the stream, the river, and the wave, right? So if this has been brewing so long, what I want to add on it is gentleness. So I also again pick a spot. I hit it around 12 inches high. And you can see it's okay to pour it over, and that's why we have a tea table for. Kind of lightly skim the surface of the tea to make sure if there's any more bubbles in there, we can clear it out. At this point, you can smell the aromatic of the tea leaf coming out. Okay, then we use our lid to kind of temper it down a little bit more. And already you can see the color of the tea is already expressing on the top of the rim. We pour a little bit out, just in case this is overflow thing. And we have a little crack in here, and that's where you pour with. That's basically a filter systems right there. So this is your first brew, the aromatic. Other peoples usually nowadays would have what we call a fairness cup or jar. This actually filter out the dust of it. I enjoy the dust. Just like drinking matcha, you basically drink the dust of the tea grinded powder. So why not have a little bit of it? So this is your first aromatic. What you want to taste and how do you want to drink this is divide this cup into 3 portions. The Chinese characters of taste consists of 3 mouths. And the reason of that is because the first cup that you're going to drink, the first slurp that you're going to drink, you don't really know what you're doing. When you have your second cups of drinking, you start to be present and understanding you're drinking something. And then you have the final slurp of the third cups, the third mouth. That is where the magic begins, that you are actually drinking the tea and enjoying it. We have Ella here again, so please, she will have her first cup of TiKwanYin. What you want to do is almost like if you have a wine drinking experience, you want to slurp the surface because that's the coolest part of the tea. What you do is you slurp it. You follow that water down to your throat. You can feel the heat of that water going down to your throat. Once it went down to your throat, take 3 breaths from your mouth. The first breath will basically moisturize your mouth and the floralness will start to come out. The second breath, you're gonna start to dry up your tongue. And then the third breath will completely dry up your whole mouth. And then you can have your second slurp of that. So this is the basic of drinking this tea. This tea can brew normally like this. We can brew up to 8 to 12 times. So this will last you for like an hour or 2. And if you are tired of it after 12, if you steep it with just off-boiled water, that you can actually keep it overnight for tomorrow and you can still revive that tea and you can keep drinking it like this. I have a bowl here that have the tea leaf that we previously brewed out, and this can probably go for another day in there. So you can see the tea leaf fully unfurled at this point. And this is a very particular way of this TiKwanYin tea. I hope you enjoy, and I cannot wait to share the next tea with you next month. If you have any questions, let us know. You can email us, or you can come to Chinatown Soup. We can actually have a sessions together. If there's anything that you want to learn or any questions that you want to find out, I'm happy to answer you. So thank you for joining us.